Have you ever walked away from someone not because you didn't love them, but because they didn't value you? And then something strange happened. Silence. No text. No call. No apology. But then, weeks later, months maybe, suddenly she reappears. Curious. Different. Regretful. What changed? What happens when a woman finally realizes you're not coming back? Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you've ever been heartbroken, ghosted, or undervalued and want to take your power back. Stick around till the end, because what you'll learn today, through the timeless wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, might just change the way you approach love, heartbreak, and self-worth forever. There was a man named Julian. He loved deeply, gave endlessly, and stayed loyal, sometimes to his own detriment. He dated a woman named Camille for 2 years. She was vibrant, unpredictable, intoxicating, but she was also dismissive, emotionally distant, and inconsistent. Whenever Julian expressed his needs, she'd dismiss them. Whenever he pulled away, she'd pull him back in. But whenever he was present, she'd vanish emotionally. One day, Julian sat in a quiet cafe. Flipping through his worn copy of Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, he read, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." He put the book down, stirred his coffee, and for the first time in 2 years, decided he'd stop begging for love. He didn't leave with a dramatic goodbye. He didn't block her or insult her. He just stopped showing up. No text. No, we need to talk. No explanation. He simply vanished from her life with dignity and silence. And that's when it started. Camille didn't notice for the first few days. Then she started seeing his absence like a shadow on her wall. Empty space. No good morning texts. No check-ins. No I miss you notes. She texted once. No response. She called. Voicemail. 2 weeks later, she wrote, "Hey, just wondering if you're okay." But by then, Julian had begun something far more important than a relationship. He was building a new connection with himself. What Camille experienced is a universal truth, and what Julian did is a powerful reflection of Stoic strength. Marcus Aurelius didn't write about romantic heartbreak, but he left behind golden principles on self-respect, discipline, emotional control, and walking away from things that no longer serve your peace. So let's break down 10 powerful Stoic suggestions from Marcus Aurelius that explain exactly what happens when she realizes you are not coming back and how you can walk the same powerful path. 1. Control your mind. Have you ever been stuck in a moment where your mind just wouldn't stop replaying the same scene? Maybe it's a fight you had with someone you cared about, or a moment when you felt invisible to the person you loved the most. Let me ask you, have you ever felt that ache? That helpless feeling when you want to reach out, to fix things, to rewind time, but you just can't? I want you to imagine Julian again, the man from our story who loved Camille. For 2 years, Julian poured his heart out. Every text, every late-night call, every moment he showed up, he was giving pieces of himself. But Camille, she was distant. She didn't meet him halfway. And that's the heartbreak, when you care more than the other person. One night, after another argument that left Julian feeling drained and hopeless, he sat on his small balcony staring at the city lights. His mind was spinning, full of what-ifs and if-onlys. Sound familiar? What if I had said something different? What if I had been more patient? What if she really loved me the way I loved her? You've probably been there, right? Maybe right now you're thinking about your own version of Camille, that person who made you feel small or unseen. Now here's the crucial part. Julian wasn't stuck in that endless loop forever. What broke the cycle wasn't some magic text or a grand gesture. It was a simple realization he found buried in the pages of Marcus Aurelius's Meditations. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Think about that. How often do we give away our power? How often do we let someone else's actions control our happiness, our thoughts, our peace? Julian realized that no matter how much he wished Camille would change, no matter how many times he hoped for her love to come back, he could only control himself, his thoughts, his actions, his emotions. This is where Stoicism shines brightest. It teaches us that the one thing we always have power over is our mind. Imagine your mind like a garden. If you let weeds grow, negative thoughts, regrets, anger, soon your entire garden looks wild and unmanageable. But if you consciously decide to plant flowers, calmness, acceptance, strength, your garden will bloom. Julian began to guard his mind. When memories of Camille's coldness tried to creep in, he reminded himself, I control my thoughts. I control my feelings. I choose peace. And here's something I want you to do right now. Close your eyes for a moment and think about your own love story. The one that still lingers in your heart, the good times, the bad times, the moments you wished could have been different. How does it feel? Sad, hopeful, angry? That feeling you have, that's real. And it's okay. But now ask yourself, are these memories controlling me? Or can I control how I respond to them? When Julian embraced this, everything shifted. He wasn't waiting for Camille anymore. He wasn't hoping for her texts or her apologies. He was mastering his inner world. His thoughts no longer chained him. This is the moment where many men lose their power, and the moment Julian found his. The truth is, love is unpredictable. People come and go. But your mind, your peace, that's yours to protect. So what about you? Are you letting your mind be ruled by what she did or didn't do? Or are you ready to take back control, to stop letting the outside world dictate your happiness? Because here's the secret. When you control your mind, you control your life. And that is the first step to becoming truly unstoppable. To no revenge needed. Have you ever felt that burning fire inside after being hurt? That sudden urge to get even? To make them feel the pain you're feeling? I want you to think about Julian again. Remember how Camille treated him. Pulling away, being distant, not appreciating his love. After Julian stopped showing up, you might expect him to be angry, right? Maybe sending a message filled with bitterness or calling her out for what she did. But Julian didn't. Instead, he chose something very different. He chose to stay silent. Now that might sound easy, like, just don't say anything. But trust me, it takes far more strength to do nothing than to lash out. Marcus Aurelius once said, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Think about that. When someone hurts you, your first instinct might be to hurt them back, to shout, to blame, to try to make them regret what they did. But what if the real power lies in not becoming the person who hurt you? Julian could have thrown shade at Camille, posted passive-aggressive texts, or even badmouthed her to friends. But he didn't. He understood that reacting with anger or bitterness would only drag him down to her level. It would mean giving away his peace, losing control of himself. Instead, he focused on his own growth. Here's something I want you to imagine. What would it feel like to be so calm, so steady inside, that the pain she caused doesn't ignite rage but only a quiet resolve? This doesn't mean Julian stopped feeling hurt. Far from it. He felt the sting every day, but he refused to let that pain make him bitter. And this is the part many men get wrong. They think revenge will heal them, but revenge is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. Julian's silence was a loud statement. It was a message to Camille, though she didn't say it aloud. I am not your mirror. I won't reflect your pain back. And here's a secret about people, especially those who didn't appreciate you. They notice strength more than anger. When she finally realized Julian wasn't coming back, it wasn't because he screamed or demanded her attention. It was because he showed he was above the hurt. He was moving on without drama. Have you ever noticed how sometimes the most powerful comeback is no comeback at all? So I want you to ask yourself, when you feel wronged in love, do you reach for revenge? Or do you reach for your own peace? Because the truth Marcus Aurelius teaches us is clear. You don't need revenge to heal. You don't need to make her regret. You only need to be better than the pain. And that kind of strength, quiet, steady, unshakable, is magnetic. It will change how she sees you. It will change how you see yourself. So what about you? Are you ready to let go of the need for revenge? To rise above the hurt and walk away with your dignity intact? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Maybe you have a story of how you turned anger into strength. 3. Start living now. Have you ever felt stuck, like you're trapped in a moment you can't escape? Like your whole world is paused, waiting for something or someone to change before you can truly be happy? Julian knows that feeling well. After Camille drifted away and he finally stopped chasing her, for a moment he felt lost. 2 years of his life, years filled with hope, love, and disappointment, seemed to weigh heavy on his chest. It was like standing at a crossroads, unsure whether to keep walking the same path or to turn away and start fresh. But then something remarkable happened. One afternoon, sitting quietly in his small apartment, Julian read a line from Marcus Aurelius that shook him to his core. It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live. Think about that for a second. It's not the end of a relationship or even heartbreak itself that should scare us the most. It's the thought of going through life never truly living, never taking control, never chasing happiness on your own terms. Julian realized that he had been waiting for Camille, waiting for her love, her approval, her return, and in doing so, he had been putting his life on hold. Maybe you've been there too. Maybe right now, you're holding on to a love that's gone. Or maybe you're caught in the hope that this time will be different. But what if Marcus Aurelius is right? What if the real tragedy isn't losing her, but losing yourself by waiting for her? Julian decided then and there he was done waiting. He started waking up earlier, not because Camille might text, but because he wanted to feel alive. He took up running again, felt the rush of the wind on his face, and remembered what it felt like to be free. He reconnected with friends he'd neglected, read books that inspired him, and even started planning trips he'd always dreamed about. This wasn't about forgetting Camille, it was about remembering himself. Because here's the truth, the moment you start truly living, the past starts to lose its grip. Your heartbreak doesn't disappear overnight, but it becomes a chapter, not the whole story. And the most powerful part, when she realizes you're no longer waiting, no longer stuck, that you're living fully without her, that's when her perspective shifts. She sees a man who isn't broken, a man who isn't desperate, a man who has moved on. That's the moment she realizes you're not coming back. Not because you hate her, but because you love yourself enough to live. So right now, I want you to ask yourself, are you waiting for her? Or are you ready to start living your own life no matter what? Because the longer you wait, the more life passes you by. And remember, Julian's story isn't unique. It's the story of every man who's lost and found himself again. If you're feeling stuck, that's okay. You're not alone. But today, decide to take the first step. Get up, breathe, and start living now. Trust me, that decision will change everything. For happiness is within. Have you ever chased after happiness like it was just out of reach? Maybe you thought if she loved you back, if she stayed, if things went your way, then finally you'd be happy. Julian thought that too. For years, his happiness was tied to Camille. Her smiles, her words, her presence. When she was close, he felt alive. When she pulled away, his whole world felt gray and empty. But here's the thing about that kind of happiness, it's fragile. It depends on things outside of you. And life? Life has a way of shaking those things loose. One rainy evening, after another cold silence from Camille, Julian sat by his window, rain tapping softly against the glass. He felt exhausted, not just physically, but deep inside. That's when he turned back to Marcus Aurelius's words. Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. Imagine that. Not needing her, not needing anyone or anything else to feel whole. Julian realized that he had been looking for happiness in her reactions, in her affection, when all along, the real source of happiness was inside him. It was a light he had ignored, buried under disappointment and longing. And here's something I want you to think about for a moment. Have you ever felt that way? Like your happiness depended on her? Maybe you've been waiting for her texts, her calls, her attention, thinking that without those, your world just can't spin right. But what if you could flip that script? What if happiness wasn't something she gave you, but something you created yourself every single day? Julian started small. He began by appreciating the simple things, morning coffee, a good song, a moment of silence. He trained his mind to find gratitude in the little things, rather than longing for what he lost. And slowly, something amazing happened. His happiness didn't vanish when Camille ignored him. Instead, it grew from within, a calm strength that no one could take away. That kind of happiness? It's unstoppable. It's the difference between feeling lost in love and feeling whole, regardless of love. I want you to try this now. Think of one small thing that makes you smile, a warm memory, a favorite place, a personal victory. Hold on to that. Because that's your power. Your happiness isn't dependent on her mood or her presence. It lives inside you, waiting for you to claim it. When Julian embraced this, he stopped chasing. He stopped waiting, and in doing so, he became someone no woman could resist. Not because he was desperate or needy, but because he was complete. So ask yourself, where is your happiness coming from? Is it from someone else? Or from within? 5. Use the obstacle. Have you ever felt like the universe was against you? Like every time you tried to move forward, something stopped you. Sometimes even the very person you loved. Julian certainly did. After everything with Camille, the heartbreak, the silence, the endless waiting, he hit a wall. He felt stuck, like life had thrown an impossible obstacle in his path. Maybe you felt the same way. You've tried to move on, but the memories, the pain, the what-ifs keep blocking your way. It's as if your love story itself became your biggest hurdle. But here's the thing. Marcus Aurelius taught Julian that changed everything. What stands in the way becomes the way. Sounds strange, right? How can the obstacle be the way forward? Let me explain. Julian realized that the pain, the heartbreak, the disappointment, they weren't just problems to avoid. They were signals, lessons, guides. Each painful memory was a chance to learn something new about himself. Each moment of rejection was a test of his strength. Instead of running from the hurt, Julian started to face it. He asked himself, what can this teach me? How can this pain make me stronger? And slowly, the obstacle stopped being a wall and started becoming a path. Imagine you're climbing a mountain. At first, the rocks and steep paths seem impossible, but every step you take over those rough stones is progress. That's what Julian did. He used the heartbreak not as a reason to give up, but as fuel to grow. He became more disciplined, more aware of his own worth. He learned to set boundaries, to value himself more than anyone else's approval. He transformed pain into power. This is one of the most powerful lessons from Stoicism, and from Marcus Aurelius himself. Your obstacles aren't punishments. They are your teachers. And here's something I want you to do right now. Think about the biggest obstacle in your love life, the rejection, the silence, the heartbreak. What if that obstacle isn't blocking you? What if it's actually showing you the way forward? This shift in perspective changes everything. When Julian stopped fighting the obstacle and started using it, he found a freedom he never knew was possible. He wasn't trapped anymore, he was on a journey. So what about you? Are you ready to stop seeing your pain as a dead end? Are you ready to turn your heartbreak into your greatest strength? 6. Embrace new beauty. Have you ever thought that after heartbreak, life just loses its color? Like everything beautiful you once saw suddenly fades away, leaving only shadows? Julian felt exactly like that after Camille left his life. For a long time, the world seemed dull. The places they'd been together, the songs they'd shared, even the little things that used to make him smile felt empty. Maybe you know that feeling all too well. When someone you love walks away, it's like the whole universe loses its sparkle. But here's what Julian learned, and what Marcus Aurelius teaches us too. The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. In other words, the beauty around us isn't gone. It's just waiting for us to see it again. After the heartbreak, Julian started to realize that if he kept clinging to the past, to Camille and what they had, he'd never notice the new beauty waiting to bloom in his life. So one day, instead of scrolling through old photos or replaying memories, Julian took a walk through a nearby park. At first, he barely noticed the sunlight on the leaves or the fresh scent of the air. But slowly, he began to see things differently. A bird singing its song, a child laughing nearby, the way the wind danced with the trees, little moments of beauty he had missed because his heart was too heavy. He started to realize that there was a whole world full of new experiences. New people, new joys waiting for him to embrace. And here's the secret, beauty doesn't disappear when love ends. It just changes form. It might be in a new friendship, a new hobby, or even a quiet moment alone. I want you to pause for a moment. Think about the last time you noticed something truly beautiful. Maybe a sunset, a smile from a stranger, or a favorite song. When was that, and how did it make you feel? If it's been a while, it's okay, because Julian's story shows us that we can learn to see beauty again. It starts with opening your eyes, opening your heart, and letting go of what's gone. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that life is always in motion. Every ending is also a beginning. So are you ready to embrace the new beauty in your life? 7. Stay in the present. Have you ever found yourself trapped in your own mind, caught between what happened and what might happen? Like you're living somewhere between the past and the future, but never really here? Julian knows that feeling well. After Camille left, his mind was a constant battlefield. He'd replay conversations over and over, wondering what went wrong. He'd imagine what life might look like if she came back, or if he could change the past. Sound familiar? Maybe you've been there too, caught in a loop of memories and what-ifs that steal your peace. But here's the thing Marcus Aurelius taught Julian something that changed everything. Confine yourself to the present. Such a simple phrase, but so powerful. Because the past is gone and the future is uncertain, the only moment we truly own is right now. Julian realized that no amount of wishing or worrying could change what had already happened or what might happen. What could change, though, was how he chose to live in the present moment. So instead of being lost in his thoughts, he started to focus on what was happening around him. He noticed the warmth of the morning sun on his face, the sound of birds outside his window, the taste of his coffee. These simple things grounded him. They brought him back to life. It wasn't easy at first. His mind wanted to wander, to fall back into regret or hope. But each time he gently brought himself back to the present, he felt a little lighter. And here's why this matters for you. When you're stuck between the past and the future, you miss the life happening right in front of you. You miss moments that could bring new joy, new connections, new opportunities. I want you to try something right now. Take a deep breath. Look around you. What do you see, hear, feel? Notice the small details. The color of the walls. The sound of a distant car. The feel of your feet on the ground. That's the power of presence. Julian learned that by staying present, he wasn't ignoring his pain. He was honoring it, but refusing to let it control him. This shift changed everything. When she realized Julian wasn't caught up in the past, or anxiously waiting for the future, she saw a man who was steady, grounded, and unshakable. That's magnetic. So ask yourself, are you living in the present, or trapped in what's behind or ahead? 8. Rewire your thoughts. Have you ever noticed how your mind can be your greatest enemy, constantly replaying the same negative thoughts, doubts, and fears? Like a broken record stuck on the worst parts of your story? Julian knew this struggle all too well. After Camille left, his mind was a battlefield of, what if I wasn't enough? And maybe she never really loved me. These thoughts circled like vultures, draining his energy and shaking his self-worth. It's a familiar place for many of us. But here's where Marcus Aurelius steps in with timeless wisdom. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. That hit Julian hard. He realized his pain wasn't just from losing Camille. It was also from letting his own thoughts control him. So Julian decided to take back control. He started to rewire his thinking. It wasn't easy, old patterns die hard. But each time a negative thought crept in, he challenged it. Is this true? Is this helpful? What would Marcus say about this? Slowly, he replaced self-doubt with self-respect, fear with courage, anger with calm. He trained his mind like a muscle, and something incredible happened. His inner voice began to sound different, stronger, kinder, more grounded. He wasn't a victim of his emotions anymore. He was the master of them. Think about your own thoughts for a moment. How often do you let negativity run wild in your head? How often do you believe the stories your mind tells you? Stories that make you feel unworthy, broken, or hopeless. What if you could change those stories? What if you could reprogram your mind to serve you, not sabotage you? That's exactly what Julian did, and that's what you can do too. It starts by catching those destructive thoughts and replacing them with truth, kindness, and strength. Remember, it's not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing which thoughts you feed and which you starve. As Julian rewired his mind, he became someone no woman could mistake for desperation. He became someone grounded in his own value. And when she realized that, when she saw his unshakable inner strength, there was no going back. So I want you to ask yourself, what stories are you telling yourself right now? Are they helping you grow or holding you back? 9. Act with truth. Have you ever been tempted to hide parts of yourself? To pretend or change who you are just to keep someone's love? Maybe you've stayed silent when you wanted to speak up, or nodded along when you disagreed just to avoid conflict. Julian knows that feeling too well. For years, he bent himself trying to fit what Camille wanted, hoping it would keep her close. He played roles, masked his true feelings, and sacrificed pieces of himself in the process. But the more he did that, the emptier he felt inside. One night, feeling lost and tired, Julian stumbled upon a quote from Marcus Aurelius that struck him deeply. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Simple words, but they carried the weight of a lifetime. Julian realized that pretending to be someone he wasn't was never going to bring true love or respect. The only way forward was to act with truth, authenticity, no matter how scary that felt. Think about your own story for a moment. Have you ever hidden your true thoughts, desires, or feelings to keep someone happy? What did that cost you? Julian began to practice this hard truth. He started by speaking honestly, even when it risked disagreement. He stopped apologizing for his boundaries. He embraced his real self, flaws and all. And what happened? He felt a sense of freedom he hadn't known before. When she realized Julian wasn't pretending or bending to fit her expectations, she saw a man who was real, solid, and grounded in his truth. That kind of authenticity is magnetic. It's the difference between being loved for who you are and being tolerated for who you pretend to be. Here's a question for you. Are you acting true to yourself right now? Or are you wearing a mask to keep love or approval? Because the truth is, no relationship built on lies or pretense can last. When you act with truth, you honor yourself first. And when you do that, the right people who see your real value, will be drawn to you naturally. Julian's journey shows us that courage to be authentic is the strongest foundation for love and respect. If you're ready to embrace your truth and live boldly, hit that like button and subscribe. The final lesson will show you how to hold your ground and command respect, no matter what. 10 Live fully today. Have you ever caught yourself postponing life? Waiting for some perfect moment, waiting for her to come back, waiting for the pain to fade, waiting for the right time to start living? Julian was guilty of this. After Camille left, he kept telling himself, when she comes back, I'll be happy. Or, once I get over this, then I can move on. He put his life on hold, stuck in a pause button that wouldn't let him move forward. Does that sound familiar? How many times have you done the same thing? Put your happiness, your dreams, your peace on hold, hoping that someday, somehow things will change. But Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor who lived through his own struggles, offers a powerful reminder. Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good. That hit Julian like a lightning bolt. The truth is, life is uncertain. We don't know what tomorrow holds. Waiting for the right time or perfect moment is just an excuse that keeps us trapped. So Julian made a choice. He decided to stop waiting, to stop postponing. He started living fully, right here, right now. He began pursuing passions he had ignored. He reached out to old friends. He traveled, read, learned new things, and embraced the world with open arms. Each day, Julian asked himself, what can I do today to live fully? How can I honor myself right now? And slowly, his life transformed. The pain of the past didn't disappear overnight, but it lost its grip. Because he wasn't waiting for happiness to find him, he was creating it every day. I want you to think about your own life for a moment. Are you living fully today or stuck waiting for something to change? What small step can you take right now, right after watching this video to live more fully? Maybe it's reaching out to a friend, picking up a new hobby, or simply stepping outside to breathe in the fresh air. Julian's story shows us that life doesn't wait. Love doesn't wait. Happiness doesn't wait. You have today, right now, so don't let it slip away. If you're ready to live fully and take control of your life, hit that like button and subscribe. And with that said, thanks for watching, and 3 months passed. Julian never replied to her message. He didn't need to. Camille eventually sent one final text. I never thought you'd actually walk away, but I get it now. I wish I had treated you better. Julian smiled, not with smugness, but with serenity. He had loved her. He had forgiven her, but he would never go back. Because walking away wasn't a punishment, it was an awakening. Stoicism isn't about being cold. It's about being clear. When you stop chasing love and start building value within, everything changes. She'll notice. She'll wonder. She may even return. But by then you'll know you're no longer the man she left. You've evolved. You've become the man you were meant to be. Not by clinging, but by letting go. And remember, the moment she realizes you're not coming back is often the moment she wishes you never left. But that's not your story anymore. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.